Hey, hi.
Hi.
So we have Namrata in the call, and today we are going to talk about Swadesh. So Namrata lives in Germany. So she is technically an NRI and who is living abroad, and she might have some mixed feelings about the movie. Um, can we start with that, Namrata?
Okay, jumping right into the feelings. Wow.
What do
Huh,
you think about the movie now?
now and even before, I have always loved this movie because, yeah, like Shah Rukh Khan has acted very well in the movie. It's one of his best movies, I would say, apart from Chak De India. Um, what I feel about this movie, it's very complicated question in general, I think, because maybe earlier ऐसे अच्छा लगता है मुझे इंडिया बहुत अच्छा लगता है but like after moving to another country where I have lived for 3 years, so now it's a bit complicated in the sense of मैं अगर इंडिया में भी एक जगह बॉर्न हुई हूँ और मैं इंडिया में ही कहीं मूव हो रही हूँ तो वी गेट यूज टू दैट अदर प्लेस दैट वी मूव टू and that's why it feels like okay we have home in another place even though we have home back in our own hometown, so it's something similar to that. So मुझे लगता है अभी भी इंडिया मेरी कंट्री है but it doesn't mean कि जर्मनी में अच्छा नहीं लगता या something, and the same goes for Germany. Even if I live here I don't feel कि इंडिया इज नॉट माई कंट्री. सो अभी भी मुझे बहुत बहुत अच्छा लगता है इंडिया एंड नाउ इट्स at this stage it's very confusing in general कि which is my Swades. Even though I was born in India, I feel connection towards Germany in a very unique way, and even though I'm living here in Germany I feel that India is where I want to be ऐसे. So it's like always confused. तो वही बोलना चाहूंगी मैं स्वदेश के बारे में. Having said that, I think Swades is much more than just this sense of belonging. I think it's also about doing what is right in the sense of जो second half में दिखाते हैं कि उससे पता है कि he can grow in any other place, but where is he needed the most? So which brings or pulls him back to the place because he has some responsibilities there, or na chahte hue bhi he wants to give back to the society. So that outweighs the desire to stay abroad, and that's why he takes this decision to move back. So I also feel the same that maybe मुझे भी ऐसे एक दिन लगेगा अचानक से कि I want to be in India, and I will be like, okay, this is where I want to be. So even though I'm comfortable right now, I would मुझे ऐसे बहुत बार लगता है एक्चुअली, और स्पेशली जब मैं पानी पूरी या ऐसे इंटरेस्टिंग खाने के चीजें देखती हूँ तो मुझे लगता है व्हाट एम आई इवन डूइंग इन जर्मनी लीविंग ऑल दिस ब्यूटीफुल ब्यूटीफुल फूड इन इंडिया ऐसे. So I cannot have both the things. I have to sacrifice somewhere. So yes. Yeah.
So, starting with the movie का जो plot है,
Mm-hmm.
it's about a character whose name is Mohan, and I
Hmm.
think it is kind of a homage to Mahatma Gandhi,
Mm-hmm.
who is living abroad and then has a very good career abroad, and being a
Mm-hmm.
barrister in London or South Africa was a big deal at that time. So it's like he comes back to India and he has that one moment where he realizes that he's needed in India more than
Mm.
wherever he wants to be. So,
Yes.
I mean, as a when you watch this movie, do you make those connections, and are they as transparent as I think they are?
टू बी ऑनेस्ट जब मैंने ये मूवी देखी थी इट वाज अराउंड 2007 या 8. It
Yeah.
was way back like 10-11 years ago. And तब भी एक्चुअली मुझे नहीं क्लिक हुआ था बिल्कुल भी कि दिस इज समवट रिलेटेड टू महात्मा गांधी's life. It was only a couple of years ago when I was reading a post and then someone outlined that this is the similarity between Mahatma Gandhi's life and Swades,
Mm.
and that's when it clicked for me, like when they connected the dots for me. And usme, of course, now that I think, I felt okay, yes, it is similar. But when I started reading the comment section, it was mixed. So then people were saying, no, it's not about only him. The actual inspiration is someone else who was living abroad once and then they moved back. Then someone said that it's another series or some short story on
Yeah,
which this.
yeah,
So basically, I think it's a mix of inspirations. But of course, what you're saying is true that there are similarities between Mahatma Gandhi's life and Swades or Mohan Bhargav. And that's why the name itself, like Mohan,
mm,
it's Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. It's inspired from his name as well.
yeah. Yeah,
But
even
it's
I
not
read.
very apparent, to be
Yes.
honest.
Maybe, but I think जो एक महात्मा गांधी की लाइफ में जब when he comes back to India, one of the thing
Mhm.
big deal जहाँ पे उनकी पॉपुलैरिटी एंड एक्सेप्टेबिलिटी अक्रॉस द कंट्री बढ़ी थी, वो थी
Mhm.
चंपारण का जो उन्होंने सत्याग्रह किया था।
Yes.
And the city, I mean the village where they,
Charanpur.
that is Charanpur. Okay, so
Hmm.
there is a phonetic connection. And again, the person
Yes.
he goes to meet, जो गरीब आदमी को मिलने जाता है, takes the
हाँ.
time. That
Hmm.
person's name is Haridas, which is a play on
हाँ.
the word Harijan. So,
Yeah. Yes.
of course, there were inspirations. कुछ पुरानी, I think, Kannada and Marathi stories भी हैं, which have similar
Mm-hmm.
themes. There were a couple of TV shows which had similar themes. But I think
Mm-hmm.
मेरे को लगता है कहीं ना कहीं it was a smart homage, एक तरह से
Mm-hmm.
trying to make it more relevant for the
Mm-hmm.
next generation, some
Mm-hmm.
stories from the past. I didn't
Yes.
knew that in the screenplay, Ayan Mukherjee is one of the contributor.
ये
I
मुझे भी नहीं पता, ये अभी अभी आपने
मैंने
बताया
recently
मुझे.
मैंने पढ़ा है कि Ayan Mukherjee was contributor to the screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, um,
Yes. Actually, now that you mention it, I also read this somewhere that the journey that he takes, so it's a very complicated journey from getting from Charanpur to Haridas's house,
hmm,
which is something that Mahatma Gandhi did, right? Like when he came back, he had a train journey from, I think, north to south or like east to west, something
yes,
like this.
yes,
Like,
yes, yes. Huh.
so it's also something similar in both these things. Yeah.
And I mean, so जब ये movie आई थी, the everybody was waiting was कि what happens, क्योंकि लगान रिलीज हुई थी, लगान became a huge success, it went to Oscars and everything happened, and everyone was
Hmm.
looking what next, and then people came
Hmm.
that Shah Rukh Khan is collaborating with Ashutosh Gowarikar, and Shah Rukh has
Yes.
actually collaborated with Ashutosh Gowarikar in this movie, I think, um, that is such a Krishnamurti movie, Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na. I think Ashutosh
Mm-hmm.
Gowarikar was there in that movie as well, and
Mm-hmm.
I think they were in circus as well. So they
Okay.
had a long connection. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
everyone was waiting what will come out of it, and then we
Yes.
came up with this movie. I think
Yes.
Gowarikar lost it after that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know what happened to the um,
Mm-hmm.
cinematic
Director.
brilliance in him.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm. Actually, many abhi, like just because we were going to have this conversation, that's why I read some stuff and that's why I'm remembering all this stuff. Otherwise, I wouldn't have remembered as much. But ये जो उस ईयर में जब ये मूवी रिलीज हुआ तब दो और शाहरुख खान की मूवी रिलीज हुई थी, विच इज वीर ज़ारा एंड मैं हूं ना. एंड मतलब मैं हूं ना मुझे पता है क्योंकि आई वॉच्ड इट द सेम ईयर. वीर ज़ारा आई हैवंट येट watched in, like
oh,
I have plans to watch it. And so this I have watched it multiple times, but so this I watched it 3-4 years after, and then I got to know that it's not as famous as it should have been.
mm,
And it's underrated in the sense of not being recognized as much, ऐसा मुझे लगता है. And it might be because उस साल उसके 3-4 movies आए इसी वजह से like this got, I don't know, hidden or something like this, lost or something like this.
It might also have to do with that काफी serious movie भी थी and you don't expect
हाँ
to do a serious movie
हाँ वो भी है कि did not have that Bollywood yes.
element. Yeah.
But it's a very sentimental movie
Hmm.
in the sense of जो ड्रामा है जिस तरह से दिखाया है जिस तरह से कनेक्ट किया है it I think covers everything. So in the end it's a feel good movie because of the ending, but overall आप उसको देखोगे तो it's a very well built story from the start to end. Like it मतलब वो even it mentions this one scene, there's this one scene जिसमें it talks about the old people, how they are being taken care of in the country. Like there's this lady who is in the ashram who is Kaveri Amma's friend, and she says कि कावेरी अम्मा कितनी लकी है कि उसके लिए दो लोग आए और हमारे लिए एक भी नहीं आया. So it also hints to that. So I feel like it's a very versatile movie in the sense of talking about a lot of topics which might go which might be missed otherwise. Yeah.
True.
So बहुत subtle चीजें है of course, but there are these things. अगर
Right.
अच्छे से देख.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that reminded me of that scene where train में वो शाहरुख खान एक glass पानी पीता है. Until that point,
हाँ
he's just having Bisleri, just
हाँ
water.
yes
So that is
yes
a huge change
hmm.
in his personality. Yeah,
Yes
I agree. About a lot of things in that movie were like, in a sense, it is actually a coming of age story.
yeah yeah we
Yeah,
can
I
say
mean,
that
yeah,
for
because
him because he learned. Yeah.
he became a different person altogether.
Yes yes he did. उसमें एक्चुअली वो भी दिखाते हैं कि स्टार्टिंग में ही इज नॉट वेरी आई डोंट नो फ्रेंडली और लाइक पहले ही फील्स नॉट वेरी गुड हैंगिंग आउट द पीपल अराउंड हिम या उनको नहीं दिखाना है कुछ चीजें ही वांट्स टू हैव द पर्सनल स्पेस बट आई थिंक लेटर द मूवी दे शो कि अच्छा वो घर में ही लाइक सो रहा है अंडर द स्टार्स और समथिंग लाइक दिस सो ऐसे भी लाइक थोड़ा थोड़ा उन्होंने चेंजेस दिखाया है एंड सॉन्ग्स या लेट्स टॉक अबाउट I mean, the songs are ऐसे ही मैं किसी दिन स्वदेश का एल्बम लगा दूं तो भी मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है क्योंकि almost all the songs are
Beautiful.
like one after the other. And even this very inspirational song in today's political scenario, I would say, Ye Tara Wo Tara, it has a lot of, subtle things that hints towards unity in what we have in India. And I think it's a very good way of putting those things in practice when we see what's happening in India right now. तो बहुत अच्छा लगता है कि ये गाने सुनो तुम लोग ऐसे लगता है.
Rahman's music is, I mean,
yes
9 out of 10 times it clicks.
yes
Rahman is like a genius. I don't know.
hmm. Hmm.
He is actually a Mozart from Madras. So,
yes
um, I loved the song "Yun Hi Chala Chal," and I think it was the blockbuster. And
yes
the songs between Geeta, I mean, played by Gayatri Joshi, and Shahrukh, they were romantic. They didn't catch, but they were pretty good actually. They were very nice romantic
yeah
songs.
actually after watching the movie I got to know those songs, the romantic songs, otherwise I wouldn't have known. And there's this
They were not very
song that
popular. For some reason, they were.
they were not, but the song that she sings when he is leaving for to go to Haridas's house, that song I used to play on like repeat mode until I got bored of it. But even today I remember the lyrics, which is a plus, yeah, for me. It's a win for me. It's a very beautiful song. I feel like the music and also the lyrics are very good. Yeah. The song that you're mentioning, "You Hi Challa Chal Rahi," I also read this, and I would like to mention that this song is also playing in Deadpool 2, and in the
Yes.
yeah, Yeah, and when I actually watched this movie in the theaters, and then when it started playing, I was very happy. Oh, look at that! There's an Indian song playing. So तभी बहुत अच्छा लगा था. Like when Hollywood movies uses some
Yeah,
songs that it's a very good feeling.
I
Yes.
think there's another famous Hollywood movie which used Chamma Chamma as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. Yeah, there are many such songs that are used. There's, I think, one Inside Job or Inside or some bank robbery movie in which they also used one very yes, Dil Se Re, Chaiya
Hmm.
Chaiya, the
Yeah,
Chaiya Chaiya.
yes.
Yes, that was epic because Chaiya Chaiya is all my all-time favorite song. So yeah,
Let's get back to Sudesh.
so this yes.
The point you said about the unity aspect. So there's a very amazing dialogue which Shah Rukh delivers is about the differences between cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. मैं अभी भी इंडिया में बहुत लोगों से ये चीज सुनता रहता हूँ कि इंडिया का कल्चर बड़ा
Mm-hmm.
आगे का है एंड थिंग्स लाइक दैट
Mm-hmm.
बच्चे इंडिया के बाहर हैं, ठीक है
Mm-hmm.
um, even my experience has been totally different. I mean, lot of things we people in India presume about foreigners are actually not true.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what
Mm-hmm.
is your experience in that sense, in that aspect?
So, what do you mean by Joe? What kind of perceptions are you talking about, first of all?
Like families, how they
Mm-hmm.
gel between families. So जैसे
Mm-hmm.
इंडिया में परसेप्शन है कि सब लोग अलग अलग रहते हैं अलग अलग. So that is true
Mm-hmm.
that
Mm-hmm.
the concept of joint family is not there. Okay,
Hmm.
but that doesn't mean that they don't care for each other.
Acha. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, in that sense. So, if you're talking about the culture here, like I cannot say because I haven't been as much integrated in German culture, to be honest. बट जितना मैं देखती हूँ यहाँ पे भी मुझे हर तरह के लोग दिखते हैं. देर आर ऑल्सो पीपल जो व्हील चेयर में होते हैं और उनके बच्चे या उनके पेरेंट्स दे आर टेकिंग them out, they are walking them around and they are taking care of them. So I feel like यहाँ पे भी उतने ही inclusive या caring people है जितने इंडिया में हैं,
Mm.
and यहाँ पे भी उतने ही I don't know like अलग अलग or how do we say like lonely लोग हैं जहाँ जितने की इंडिया में है. So I think it depends on जिस हालात में वो है.
Mm.
So
True.
there are all kinds of people everywhere, I would say.
Right. Right.
Wouldn't put it in a very general statement saying कि यहाँ पे लोग बहुत aloof होते हैं या lonely होते हैं
Mm.
या अलग होते हैं. I wouldn't make such a blanket statement about people. In fact, I think it also depends on people. So I usually see the good things in or around me because I would like to see that. I would like to ignore the bad stuff around me. So I'm that person. So ऐसे like even sometimes मैं जब कहीं जाने वाली होती हूँ तो मुझे कभी अगर ओल्ड कपल दिखते हैं कहीं
Mm.
like because they are not even talking to each other, they are just standing along with each other या फिर एक एक दूसरे के पीछे चल रहे होते हैं like दादाजी आगे जा रहे हैं दादी पीछे जा रहे हैं something like this. So even that I feel कि अरे कितने cute है कितने साथ साथ में जा रहे हैं, but that I don't often see in India maybe, but in India then I see some other kind of love. I think मैं अगर किसी के घर जाऊँ तो फिर दादी जी कुछ बना रही है दादाजी के लिए something like basically there's all forms of love that we can see and then it depends on us what we see.
So
ऐसे
I
मैं
mean,
बोलना.
in the I think for the first time on screen, I saw a leading
Mm-hmm.
actor shattering that kind of thought process. That
Mm-hmm.
what
You're talking about Gayatri Joshi.
no, I'm talking about Shah Rukh Khan. There is a dialogue.
Okay.
So everyone is sitting, and then someone says that
Right. Mm-hmm.
Indian culture से better कुछ नहीं है, and then Shah Rukh Khan
Mm-hmm.
says no, they are different kind of
ऐसा
people.
नहीं है
Every culture
हाँ
is good in its own way.
different
And
हाँ
there
yes
was a
exactly.
yeah, there was a Russian writer who said that I absolutely hate the history of my country, but I
Mhm.
will not change it for anything.
Mhm, mhm.
So yes, their history have violence, their history have a lot of things which are not as good as everyone want, but it's still their
Mhm.
history and they respect it, they
Yeah.
value it.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
the, I think in the, I mean, जितनी भी picture मैंने देखी है, I have never seen a leading actor saying that, especially
Mhm,
someone
mhm.
with a mass appeal, because
Mhm,
it
mhm.
goes against the
Mhm.
wave, right? So normally अगर ऐसा
Yeah.
कुछ statement मानना होता है किसी को, they use a
Hmm.
different, a scene,
Like
other
sugar
character
coated.
issue to put
Mhm.
that thought.
Yeah. Hmm. ये इतना तो मैंने नोटिस नहीं किया, बट जब वो पूरा जो 2-3 मिनट का उसका डायलॉग होता है, वो जिसमें ये सब चीजें बोलता है, वो धोती पहन के दसरा वाले दिन शायद ये होता है।
Yes, something like that. Yeah.
उसमें एक्चुअली एक और स्टेटमेंट बोलता है कि कोई तो पूछता है कि क्या तू मतलब कोई तो मतलब जो मेन पंच, वन ऑफ द पंचेस से कि मतलब तुम्हें लगता है कि इंडिया इज नॉट द बेस्ट कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड, तो फिर शाहरुख खान बोलता है कि ऐसा नहीं है कि इंडिया इज नॉट द बेस्ट कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड, बट हमें ताकत है बनने की,
Hmm.
something like he says. And this actually there's a series, I think it's Newsroom या something like this, उसमें भी
Yes.
एक सेम लाइक फर्स्ट एपिसोड मैंने एक दो ही एपिसोड देखे हैं उस सीरीज के, बट इट्स द सेम काइंड ऑफ यू नो
Yes.
डायलॉग्स, एंड इट्स वेरी मतलब एन्चेंटिंग दैट सीन। और
Hmm.
मुझे जब पहली बार वो सीन देखा था तो आई वाज रिमाइंडेड ऑफ स्वदेश का ये वाला सीन, क्योंकि इट्स द सेम लाइन ऑफ थॉट कि America is not the best country in the world, but we have the power to be something like this. So yeah, there's this similarities that I noticed also in this two yeah content.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Let's talk about Gayatri Joshi and Shah Rukh Khan as a couple on screen.
Mhm.
So,
So
your thoughts?
yes, my thoughts on this is like again like because I love this movie, I am prejudiced that look good together, they act good together. प्लस आई थिंक कि गायत्री जोशी दिस उसका सिर्फ एक ही मूवी है ये, विच आई फील वेरी सैड,
Yeah.
क्योंकि she was like it was just the first movie that she did and it was such a good movie, so I would have imagined like more great content from her or something like that in the future,
Yeah.
which did not happen sadly, but not to blame anyone. अच्छा लगता अगर होता कुछ तो और
Yeah.
content के as an actress, I think she did very brilliantly in the role that she was given, क्योंकि मतलब उसने काफी सारे जो चीजें हैं जिस तरह से उसको पोर्ट्रे करना चाहिए था एज अ टीचर, वो लगती भी वैसी ही है कि
Hmm.
शी वुड बी अ टीचर और सम लाइक हु वुड बी अ वेरी ग्रेसफुल टीचर इन द सेंस ऑफ और उसे जब गुस्सा आता है जब वो कोई तो उसे देखने के लिए आता है एंड देन दे से कि नहीं, they would not like if she's working because the guy is working, so she सेज कि मैं तो ऐसा नहीं रोकूंगी खुद को कि काम ना करूं, अगर बच्चों को सिखाना मतलब शी वांट्स टू डू दैट, शी दैट्स हर एम्बिशन, सो व्हाई वुड शी स्टॉप डूइंग दैट। सो वो भी जो रोल उसमें भी वो बहुत ही ऐसे गुस्से में भी प्यारी दिखाई दी है, so that I really liked about her.
Yeah. I think she was a good contrast. एक
Mm-hmm.
Shah Rukh Khan is in. He has
हाँ.
even in character of Mohan Bhargav, he has that flamboyance, right? Oh,
Mm-hmm.
she balances it out very nicely.
Well,
Yeah.
हाँ.
And
Yes.
they look good together. I was
हाँ.
actually surprised that they never worked together again.
हाँ,
Should
that's sad.
have some
Yes.
similar kind of movies. They could have done.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, it would have worked very well also in the future, I think. Yes.
Um,
वो एक्चुअली मतलब उन्होंने ऐसे ही दिखाया ना कि दे आर ऑलवेज फाइटिंग, क्योंकि दे आर देयर फॉर कावेरी अम्मा, लाइक हु विल गेट कावेरी अम्मा,
yeah,
राइट? एंड द थिंग दैट शी फेल्स फॉर हिम एंड ही आल्सो फील्स फॉर हर, तो फिर वो अच्छा मतलब केमिस्ट्री अच्छा भी दिखाया उन्होंने कि पहले दे आर लाइक नो नो एंड देन दे आर लाइक ओके यस कैन वर्क। यस, वो धोती वाला सीन भी एक्चुअली बहुत फनी लगता है, उसमें एक पर्टिकुलर टाइप का म्यूजिक आता है, वो ऐसे प्रॉपर तबला म्यूजिक आता है,
mm,
वो भी बहुत सुनने में भी अच्छा लगता है एक्चुअली। उस सीन पे बहुत ही अच्छे से फिट हो गया है वो। और उसमें बेसिकली वो वो शायद यू कहीं से देख के, याद नहीं मुझे अभी, कहीं से देख के ही इज ट्राइंग टू पुट द धोती, बट शी नोज एंड ही इज सरप्राइज कि इसको कैसे पता है
True.
how to wear dhoti. That was also very well made, I would say. फिर ऑफ कोर्स देयर इज दिस सॉन्ग जो पल पल है भारी वाला जो सॉन्ग है, मतलब उन दोनों को साथ में तो नहीं दिखाया है, एंड आई डिड नॉट एक्सपेक्ट कि वो जो पोस्टमैन के साथ उसे दिखाया है रावण को। आई वाज, हाँ मतलब वो थोड़ा मैं शॉक हो गई थी कि अरे पोस्टमैन को क्यों दिखाया, बट आई थिंक ही फिट द रोल ऑफ दैट लाइक रावण लुकिंग काइंड ऑफ फेस, तो उन्होंने वैसे दिखाया। बट देन ही इज फार अवे स्टैंडिंग एंड देयर इज दिस लाइन, मन से रावण जो निकाले राम उसके मन में है, एंड this Sita ka role as if like he is saving her or something, I don't know. That also उन्होंने काफी अच्छे से दिखाया है, I think. Even though he's not wearing any clothes like Ram, but yeah, can say that he is kind of Ram in her life.
I was the person who जो जिसने प्रिंसिपल का रोल किया, हेडमास्टर का रोल किया है, he's a very senior playwright, लेख टंडन. So
he the same guy जो इलेक्ट्रिसिटी वाले रोल के पहले लाइक उसकी डेथ हो जाती है.
हाँ, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about the same person, yes, who is very sick. He has, I mean, he has been an amazing contributor to the language in India. And I mean, he has been a good playwright. I think he has written a lot of movies as well. In very small roles he have played in, I mean, different movies he has played very small roles, mostly in art films. So he is a representation of, a class of not exactly actors, but people who are in theater and that kind of zone, and they have been contributing. It was a pleasure to see him. The lady who played Kaveri Amma, veteran actress. Then I think the Muslim lady.
Yes, her friend.
Small role. Yeah, her friend.
Yeah.
So they are played very small, very important roles, and yeah, I mean, it feels good when you see such veteran actors playing a very important part in it.
Yes.
And they become very relevant. I mean, they make the content more relevant.
Yes, even this other guy who wants to establish a dhaba in the US. I don't know his name. Bhola Ram, I think.
Yeah, I don't recollect, but.
So he also cracks this dialogue that मैं मतलब यूएस अगर जाऊंगा तो इट्स लाइक मेरे घर में लाइट है बट मैं किसी और के घर में रोशनी दे रहा हूँ या समथिंग लाइक दिस, माय दिया बट गिविंग लाइट टू समवन एल्सेस हाउस या समथिंग.
Right. Did you like the climax of the movie?
Climax of the movie.
I'm talking the things which happens after he brings electricity in the city.
So actually मुझे थोड़ा सा अब्रप्ट लगा जब वो वापस आता है, क्योंकि आई फेल्ट ओके मे बी ही वांट या समथिंग, क्योंकि उन्होंने इतना ज्यादा एक्सप्लेन नहीं किया है कि व्हाई ही फील्स दैट. बट वो जो सॉन्ग है ये जो तेरा, इट ऑलवेज लाइक मेक्स मी क्राई जब भी वो देखती हूँ, क्योंकि उसमें ऐसे उन्होंने ऐसे देखा है कि ही रिमेम्बर्स ऑल द पास्ट थिंग्स दैट हैज हैपेंड व्हेन ही वाज इन इंडिया. और I think that is enough of a reason. Like I should not look for any more reason. And then he also tries to convince to his other colleague, the NASA colleague that he has, कि अगर मैं 3-4 बार बोल चुका हूँ तुझे इतने में भी नहीं समझ में आ रहा है कि मैं क्यों इंडिया वापस जाना चाहता हूँ, तो मैं तुझे नहीं समझा सकता. So I felt okay, that is also something that he can say to me because I am also trying to find a reason. But maybe it's like that, like you feel under say it's not something that you can really understand why people take such steps, but it's just मतलब मुझे भी लगता है कि मैं भी एक दिन इस जैसे, तो ऑफ कोर्स मतलब किसी को भी लग सकता है रैंडमली। तो वो थोड़ा एब्रप्ट लगा, बट ऑफ कोर्स आई अंडरस्टैंड कि व्हाई इट इज लाइक दैट। स्पीकिंग ऑफ द क्लाइमैक्स, उसके बाद जब वो वापस आता है एंड देन उन्होंने डायरेक्टली वो सीन देखा है जहाँ पे वो लोग अगेन दे आर इन
Yeah.
कुश्ती कुश्ती लड़ रहे हैं। वो जो विलेज है, वो जो लाइक मंदिर है, वहां पे मैं खुद जाके आई हूँ।
Oh,
लाइक इट्स नियर पुणे, इट्स नियर on I think on the way to Satara there is a small village called Vai,
oh,
and
right.
it's
Okay.
प्लेस, वेरी काम प्लेस। वहां पे जाके एक्चुअली तुम पानी में पैर रख सकते हो, और वो बहुत सुंदर जगह है बेसिकली। लाइक एक दिन का ट्रिप है पुणे से, नॉट मोर देन दैट, बट इट्स वेरी पीसफुल। तो वो जब मैं वहां गई तो आई फेल्ट कि मैं उधर हूँ एक्चुअली, उस क्लाइमैक्स में हूँ, कि वो ऐसे पैर पानी में डालता है, हाथ धोता है लास्ट में, एंड देन द कैमरा जूम्स आउट वगैरह वगैरह। तो काफी अच्छे से किया है। और वहां पे चरणपुर जो मतलब दिखाया है कि 2 चरण है, आई डोंट रिमेम्बर वो था तो नहीं, बट मे बी होगा कहीं वहां पे। हो सकता है कि वहां पे वो चरण स्टिल आर देयर। वो जो सीन है वो काफी आई थिंक वेल शॉट है, कि लाइक सब लोग एक साथ आ गए एंड देन दे आर हैप्पीली को एग्जिस्टिंग। तो वो काफी अच्छा लगा मुझे। मैं फील गुड, आई वुड से।
Yeah.
Many
Um,
people would say कि वो थोड़ा ओवर द टॉप है, इन द सेंस ऑफ नहीं आएगा कोई इंसान, बट देर आर सच एग्जाम्पल्स विच इज वाई दिस फिल्म वॉज मेड। आई
True.
थिंक आ सकते
Um,
हैं।
हाँ लोग आ सकते हैं बट आई मीन व्हेन आई सॉ दैट मूवी मेरे को समझ में
हम्म,
नहीं आया कि वो गीता के लिए वापस आया कि इंडिया के लिए वापस आया
अच्छा।
तो
सो यू हैड दैट डिसीजन।
या आई वाज लाइक मे बी इसको थोड़ा और क्लियर करना था बिकॉज गीता
हाँ, ओके।
सॉर्ट ऑफ कॉर्नर्ड हिम इफ यू वांट टू मैनेज
हम्म,
योर रिलेशनशिप विद मी यू हैव टू कम बैक
हम्म, हम्म,
सो दैट आई थिंक वो अगर कॉन्फ्लिक्ट नहीं होता तो इट वुड हैव बीन अ क्लियर विनर he wants to come back to India
हम्म,
for the country. But
हम्म,
due to that conflict, I sort of felt that maybe he was cornered and he really loved that girl. Either ways,
हम्म,
he returned for love. Now, it's
हम्म। So
subject,
now it's confusing. So what do you want it to be? Do you want him to return
doesn't
back for
matter.
love?
Doesn't matter. Um, either ways, it's fine. I
मुझे
love
एक्चुअली
the
इतना,
movie. मेरे को बहुत पसंद आई स्वदेश.
हाँ मुझे भी बहुत पसंद है। द थिंग इज कि मुझे लगता है कि ऐसे क्यों नहीं हो सकता कि वो दोनों के लिए आया हो।
हाँ वही I mean
ये दो निशाना।
I can do both.
लाइक वी डोंट हैव टू चूज वन और द अदर।
Yes, true, true, true.
ओके।
It was amazing talking to you about this movie.
Yes, me too. It was very nice to remember this movie. To be honest, I had made this movie as my Republic Day or Independence Day movie. Like, अगर मैं एक साल में 26 को रंग दे बसंती देखती, तो 15th अगस्त को मैं स्वदेश देखती हूँ, and like I exchange. So like not every year, but I try to watch at least one of these once a year. तो काफी अच्छा लगता है मुझे ये दोनों मूवीज के बारे में बात करके, एंड स्वदेश इज वेरी क्लोज टू माय हार्ट, सो इट वाज वेरी नाइस टॉकिंग टू यू एज वेल ऑन दिस मूवी।
Thanks for it.